Through the decades, horror films have wowed and scared many audiences. But as with any film, some like it and there are those who hate it. Critics can outright love a movie, but the audience has a different view. Groundbreaking movies like The Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity were seen as a new take on the old genre. But now, all Reddit users would agree here are top-rated horror movies fans hated, according to Reddit. First up, we have It Follows, 2014. It Follows is a film about curses. You had to be intimate with a person for the curse to be attached to you. A monster follows those who have the curse and tries to kill them. The terrible part for those that have a curse, it attracts the monster. The monster will only go after those with the curse. CD Turtle said, "I had my hopes up high after all the praise it got, and it disappointed me on just about every level." Critics, however, seemed to love this movie, even though the general public did not. Some thought it was a different concept. The majority of the audience was in suspense throughout the film. It wasn't a movie that everyone who saw it liked, but for many people, it had the tension it needed to make it a distant thriller. Did you agree with the Reddit user or those who liked this film? Next up, The Blair Witch Project, 1999. The film follows a group of college kids interviewing people about the Blair Witch murder and found footage. This movie takes a turn when they get lost in the woods and things quickly turn from bad to worse. Avita Puppy, a Reddit user, disliked this film and said a bunch of creepy twigs and 20 minutes of people yelling Josh. The film was a mixed one for many who watched and sat through the entire film. Many people got ill during the movie because of the camera's shakiness. On one side, you have those who thought it was a different type of film because it was based on a true story and the footage seemed real. The other side is that people thought it was a film with no depth. Many critics believe it is one of the best, scariest films out there. One Reddit user could not understand the hype of this film. "I don't get it. I can appreciate a good tension-building horror that relies on ambience, but this movie, IMO, is boring." I suppose the found footage idea is creative, but I still think The Blair Witch is terrible overall. Was the found footage a great idea to promote this film, or did it make a horrible experience to watch it? And now we have Lake Mungo, 2008. Lake Mungo takes a strange turn in this mystery movie. A family starts to have strange encounters after someone dies in the family. They try to find the truth of what is happening, leading them to a secret double life and uncovering the facts about Lake Mungo. However, according to those on Reddit, they did not see the appeal of this movie. Distinct Question said, "I thought Lake Mungo was one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. When I first heard people mentioning it as a great horror movie, I thought they were being sarcastic. However, the ones who hate this film aren't the majority, as those who like this film thought the performances were great and the ghost story was creepy enough." Moving on to Paranormal Activity, 2007. Paranormal Activity follows the footsteps of The Blair Witch Project. This film has the same concept of promoting this movie as footage that was found. A couple starts noticing some strange things in their home. Reddit user The Law T-Man 1986, "I hate Paranormal Activity and still have never figured out why anyone would think it was good." On the other hand, it tells a different story on Rotten Tomatoes. People who liked the film liked that the performance was realistic and creepy. Yes, the film looked low budget, but I suppose that's the point. It is made to look like real footage was found. There are, of course, those that need help understanding the hype around this film. They didn't like the low-key movie. Next up, we have Terrifier, 2017. Another film about a slasher. The slasher follows the norm in this film and frightens three women in clown suits on Halloween night. It was well received by the critics, but not so much by the general public. One Reddit user, Walmart Brand Barbie, claimed all the movie really has to go on is shock value. Some might argue that is the point of a horror film. However, the critics thought the film was well put together. It had the right amount of violence and gore to make this a good slasher film. On Rotten Tomatoes, the score was 60%. They also said the performers in the film did a fantastic job of delivering this movie. And now we have The Cabin in the Woods, 2012. The Cabin in the Woods follows 5 friends who go to a cabin for a vacation. However, they quickly become tortured by scary encounters. People in general thought it was an interesting take on slasher films, but not everyone. Reddit user 66 Darth Jar Jar 66 argued, "It just feels like it's trying to redo what countless films have done before." As with all films, you'll have a mixed response, as those that liked it and found it fascinating and intriguing and took a different approach to make this film. Moving on to The Shining, 1980. The movie stars Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance, writes, "It is an adaptation of a book by Stephen King. Jack becomes unsettled as he's in a haunted hotel because he moved his family. This classic film is in general well-liked. However, there are a few on Reddit who dislike this film. User Hipster Latino on Reddit said, "I just don't find it entertaining or scary. That could be more of a generational gap, as critics and, in general, most audience love this 80s film. They thought it was disturbing and terrifying at the same time. The other reason people liked it was because there was a bit of psychological tension in the middle of this family drama in a haunted hotel. It has the right balance and the cast's performances were well executed. If the Reddit user was born in a different decade, you have to wonder if they would have appreciated the film." Next up, we have The Conjuring 2013. The Conjuring is the first one of the franchise. One family moves to a farmhouse and starts noticing paranormal activities that are not so friendly, so they ask for help from demonologists Lorraine and Ed Warren. On Reddit, Belgan said, "It's not original or even particularly well made. Yes, there were plenty of criticisms, however, it made many more films and turned them into a franchise. Unfortunately, some found this movie too scary to even sit till the end." And now we have A Quiet Place 2018. This film is about being quiet or the monsters will kill you. The family cannot make a sound as the monsters find their prey by listening. Not everyone agreed with the hype surrounding this film. Reddit user Sunset Everett disliked this film. "I hate this movie. I thought it was so stupid and not the least bit scary." Even though there were a few harsh comments from some audience members, it was good enough that they made a second one. Those who enjoyed it said the suspense was terrific and you feel your blood pumping and cannot help but watch every second of the film. Moving on to The Babadook 2014. A widower learns that her son is not lying when he says a monster is in the house. The monster entered the house from his children's book. Reddit users seem to dislike this one. "My main issue with this movie is that it was good until they added the twist at the end. Those that appreciated the film liked the family dynamic in the Aussie-made movie. They liked how this film is about a single parent, which is something you don't see in horror films all that too often." Next up, Evil Dead 2013. It is a remake and 5 friends go to the cabin. There they uncover a book of the dead. So they unknowingly summon demons that live nearby in the woods. One Reddit user said, "Hated by a lot of people who understandably hate the idea of remaking Evil Dead and so refuse to see it, but is pretty well liked by people who have seen it. Although understandably people may dislike something because it's a copy of an original, many argue that remakes are not necessary. This new version does a distant job of keeping the scary element of the film just like the first one." And finally, The Thing 2011. The Thing was another remake of a movie, that of the original 1982 movie. Those who saw the prequel love it less than the original. A Reddit user, Just Bored Is All, said, "It's a good movie that gets hated on because of the change from practical to CGI effects. However, the film still delivers on the same premise as the original. The characters become scared after finding an alien and want to discover what is happening." Well, thanks for watching the video on top-rated horror movies fans hated, according to Reddit. So, do you agree with this list? Please leave a comment below and tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe.